Keep it Pyro.
I want to introduce and say a very, very big hello to my special guest on Beats and Balls, PyroRadio, for this week. Arsenal and England midfielder. Now, I want to get this right because everywhere I've seen you describe Jordan, it says...
Not looking forward to this one.
No. It says ball-winning, goal-scoring midfielder. And I'm a bit like, wow, I know goal-scoring midfielders and I know ball-winning midfielder, but I've never known someone that can do the two. So either you're really, 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 really good, or it's inaccurate. Describe your style of play to me, first of all. First of all, hello. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Well, I'm known as the energy in the team.
Okay.
I think I can run probably the longest.
Run for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like a long range shot, so that's probably where the shooting's come from.
I see.
I've been lucky enough to score a few 30-yarders.
Nice.
In my game.
So you're the one that basically kind of makes the crunching tackle, wins the ball back, drives 15-20 yards forward, beats a couple of players, and bangs it top corner.
Yeah, I've not quite got the dribbling technique yet, but definitely the pass, move, shoot. Yeah, I'm not far off.
Okay. Before we continue, anybody's got any questions for Jordan, get them into us via Twitter, at PyroRadio. Let us know anything you want to know from Jordan. We're going to go through a variety of subjects in the next little while we got with her now. You've been out for a little while with an injury. Tell us a little bit about the injury and your comeback.
Yeah, had a little problem twice now with my hamstring, so a bit of a nightmare, but I've done 4 weeks rehab, worked hard, and had my last game 2 weeks ago, so building up the minutes and my strength. But yeah, it's hard work mentally, I think, more than anything, but yeah. It's good to be back. Because
us fans, we always hear about what it's like for footballers when they're not playing and how mentally difficult it can be. Tell us a little bit about how hard it is, because it's a frustration of seeing your teammates playing, training, having fun, and you're going in a different door to the treatment room. What's that like?
Yeah, it's really hard to describe actually, because I think you literally don't understand how much football's your life until it's kind of took away from you. I know that sounds a bit drastic, but as soon as you can't play and you're literally walking into training and you're walking back out because you've done like half an hour rehab or whatever, or you can't do any more, it is just frustrating. It's always nice being a part of the team and stuff, but sometimes it can have a knock-on effect of you're kind of with them too much and you want to just isolate yourself a little bit. So it's finding that balance really, and the motivation. You need good positive people around you.
Okay. Now tell me a little bit about your team, Arsenal, my team as well. Love Arsenal. Magana's in the house. Tell us a little bit about the season so far. It's going for Arsenal, and you're part of the England setup as well. Tell us a little bit about how your year's gone.
Yeah, this year's been a tough one for us in the league. We've had some disappointing results, but our league's very tight, so you can never say never really until the last game. But we won the FA Cup last month, which was a big game at Wembley, 30,000 people. So we're very proud of that one, and we'll keep pushing for the league, but we've got to rely on other teams now. So it's a bit disappointing for us because we like to win everything. Yeah. But it happens, and we'll just take each game as it comes.
And tell me a little bit about the FA Cup. You're the holders of that. I watched that game. In the men's game, they get criticised of the FA Cup taking a bit of a backseat. There's other priorities in terms of the Premier League and the riches of Europe and the prestige of Europe now. It's more of a priority now for the men's game. In the women's game, is it still like the ultimate trophy you guys want to win?
Yeah, 100%. I think naturally you want to win the league, but the FA Cup is the trophy everyone wants in their hands. And I think now that they've started to make it at Wembley, I think it's another occasion for the women's game to grow, and us as players, we don't get experience, we haven't had experiences like that, so to have 30,000 people at an FA Cup is the next stepping stone to what we've had in the past, where we maybe got to 20 at different venues, different grounds, but the FA Cup's definitely the one everyone always wants.
Do you look around when you're at Wembley and think to yourself, wow, like maybe 5-6 years ago, I was playing to like a couple of hundred people, if that, and now I'm playing to half-filled Wembley Stadium?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm very privileged that I get this opportunity to do that, and if you'd asked me 5 years ago what I was doing, I was probably paying to play football, and the way it's changed is unbelievable, and it's credit to everyone that's really pushed it, but I hope that we can keep developing us as players and develop the future of the women's game as well.
And in the context of how well the England women's team did in the World Cup, it was a year or 2 years ago now?
A year
ago now. That was phenomenal in terms of moving not only England women's football game forward, but the women's game period. where have you been pleased, satisfied with the progress that's been made since then? Have you kicked on the way that you hoped you would since that phenomenal period and achievement?
I think it was a turning point because I think there's been major tournaments in the past and everyone's had a big hype, and then literally a month later no one would have known it was even on. So I think the World Cup was a massive turning point for the women's game, and it doubled all of our crowds in the league. So it just showed straight away the support we had, and I mean, so many more people now start to know women's players because they've seen them in the World Cup or saw them play a part in changing the women's game. And I think even the grassroots level of kids playing football has changed drastically as well with the girls.
Okay, and the FA Cup, I've got here, FA Continental Cup, you beat Reading 3-1. Tell us a little bit about what the FA Continental Cup is, and you guys kind of pretty much own that trophy, don't you? You've been quite dominant in that competition. We've
won it 4 times out of 5, so pretty one that we always want to keep getting now, but it's kind of like another chance for people to come watch us play knockout games, and kind of like a mini league that we play, and naturally there's a trophy at the end of it where they really promote the women's game for a final. So it's still another one that everyone wants to win, but it's naturally new. We've only had it for the last 5 years, so I think it's still everyone's kind of making their mind up whether they rest players for that game or play them for the league. So but naturally Arsenal we'd go all out, and we've won it the last 4 times out of 5. So
no doubt, wicked.
PyroRadio.
Jordan, I had a whole lot of questions that I wanted to ask you, but the listeners, they take precedence, so they've jumped in. I'm going to skip through a few here. Muscle Beats wants to know who's the toughest player you've ever played against.
It's someone called Sawa. She's a Japanese player, but she's won like World Player of the Year about 5 times.
Okay.
And she was unbelievable. Just touch, vision,
everything.
Awareness. Yeah, I was chasing shadows.
Did you walk off the pitch like scratching the back of your head?
Yeah. I was like, how did you learn that?
She was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Is she still playing?
I think she maybe just retired this year. She's had a long career.
Okay. So she put you in your place, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. It happens. Alex wants to know. I think women's football will be as big as the men's within the next 15 years. Do you agree?
No.
Okay.
I think it'll definitely get bigger, and I do think it'll keep developing, but I think the men's game is at a different level in all sports. It'd be nice to hope in 15 years it can get near that, but I think the men's game is very far ahead of a lot of sports nowadays.
Do you think the men's football will always be the number one sport, regardless of whether they're success or not? So if we don't win another World Cup in the next 30 years or so, do you think it will always be the number one sport, or do you think there'll come a time when it would be 50 years, 80 years, and won a trophy, and they'll be like, okay, actually, we're not doing well in this sport. Other sports are doing well. Or do you think it'll just be the sport forever, the number one sport?
Maybe. I mean, obviously everyone's got to keep investing, and you don't know which era will come and the game will change. But I think the men's game's gonna stay for a long time. Yeah, and I think even after major tournaments, they still go back to the Premiership, and it's still what everyone wants to see.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Brian. Would you like to play in the men's Premier League? Not sure how that would work, but would you like to play in the Premier League if you had the chance to?
Yeah, of course. I think it'd be an amazing experience, to do that week in, week out. I think it's any footballer's dream to be a part of that. So yeah, I'd love to. I think I'd still like to be an Arsenal player, but
of course.
Yeah. Who's your passing to Sanchez?
Who's your favourite player in the Premier League?
I probably would say Sanchez.
Sanchez your favourite player?
Okay. Even at the training ground, like every story you hear, he's got extra weights on his ankles, he's one of them people who he's worked hard for how he plays. Yeah.
Okay. That leads into another question actually. Do you ever train with the men's team, and do you think you could beat them?
Unfortunately, no, we don't train with them. It's very, men, women,
sure.
Get your training done naturally. I think technically we can be half decent, but to kind of do the speed and everything against the boys is always going to be.
So you think regardless of how technically and how skillfully the women's game gets, the fact that men will always have that superior fitness, athleticism and power, that will always give a man the edge over a female athlete?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why when you get to the age of 13, 14, the women's game, you can't play with boys anymore, and I think that's for that reason, because they naturally get fitter, faster, stronger, and develop quicker than us.
Okay. A couple more. Shout to Sarah asks, any advice for an up-and-coming female footballer?
I think you can really get a career out of it now. So, whether you enjoy it, just really dedicate yourself to going out to the park every day like I did and practice. I think practice will always get you where you want to be, but I think you've still got to believe it and be confident in your ability.
Okay. By the way, we have kicked off. Wales-Portugal has kicked off. We will keep you posted. Basically, turn down the commentary on BBC and just listen to us and watch the game, and we'll keep you abreast of what's going on. Right. Back to Jordan. Georgie D says we could have done with a ball-winning goal-scoring midfielder like Jordan at the Euros. And I agree. I tend to agree with that. Shouts out to Jazz, Claire, and Rihanna. Shouts out to Chuck Lowe also as well. Right, back to my questions now. Right. In terms of the Arsenal team, who do you get on with? Who are your best friends? Who do you kind of get along with the most at Arsenal and at England?
Dan Carter, our centre forward, and Gemma Rose, our centre half. Okay. I've known them since I was like 14. So we met each other. We met each other at England camp under 15s. Yeah. We've known each other a bit too long now, but I'm glad they're a part of my team at Arsenal because it always helps when you like your teammates.
I'm trying to get Danielle to come on the programme at some point. So can you please give her a nudge because we'd love to have her on as well. I'm a really big fan of her of her as well. And the goal she scored in the cup final, I just thought was ridiculous. It was just like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
No, I think you could see from the first few minutes Dan looked confident. So she's been working hard the last year. I think she's really developed as a player, yeah. I agree. You are a Sunderland fan? Yeah.
So how many tears did you shed when Newcastle got relegated? Season just gone.
I'm sick of Sunderland leaving it last minute every year, but they seem to get points off the top teams at the end of the season, so they've got a bit of grit in them, but they don't want to keep leaving it too late because I think their luck will run out. Okay. I also saw on your Twitter recently, your friend, you and Dan Carter, she tweeted, there was a picture of you trying to think it was Shaqiri, basically, and it looked awkward, and she tweeted, first day back, and this clown is trying to be out injured already. #donkey. Great. Yeah, we had a corner and I'm not normally actually in the box, but I'm like on the keeper at the moment. Okay. And it came near me and I'm not the best header in the world, so my first thought was try and overhead kick it. And to be fair, I was very close to getting it. Any touch it would have gone in, so it could have been a worldie or mine unfortunately turned out a bit drastic.
Unlucky, next time maybe. The Euros is currently going on. What do you make of the European Championships? And have you been impressed, pleased with the quality? Have you been excited, or has it been quite a bit of a letdown for you?
I think the group games are always a little bit tense because it's not kind of knockout and you don't have to go all out. And obviously 3 teams got through basically in each group. So I think the first few games were a little bit. Naturally, I watched them all, but a little bit kind of slow, but then now I think it's really kicked off, and the likes of France and teams like that have really started to look like they're going to win it. Sure. Okay. Another question here, from Seni. She asks, do you miss living up north? Yeah. I wouldn't like to ask my mum that because I think she'd drag me back right now, but yeah, I do a little bit. I kind of just miss my family and friends really, but the area, I love it in London now. Sure. And I can't imagine probably moving back up. Okay, all right. Let's talk some music now. So I want to get into this is Beats and Balls. We talk about football, we play music. So I want to get into the psyche of what you're into. So tell me a little bit about what kind of music you're into, what gets played in the dressing room, and how much influence do you have over that music playing process? Yeah, love my music, listen to probably anything. I think I grew up with my dad with like Motown, Bob Marley, and then naturally at school I kind of got into dance, especially up north, we're all dance crazy. Yeah. So but I like my kind of slow R&B. Before games sometimes I like to be chilled, so it'll be like Usher and Neo and kind of chilled, yeah. Okay. And then as soon as I step in the changing room, Alex Scott, our captain, she kind of takes over. And what does she play? Come on, what's blaring out in that changing room? She's Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, Drake. She has everything new before everyone has it, so it's normally something we're not quite sure of, and then we all love it by the next day. Yeah, okay. Yeah. What are you currently listening to? What's on your Spotify, your iTunes right now? What is the tune right now that, that's the tune? That's my tune right now. Don't know if I have a set tune. I mean, Rihanna's album and Beyonce's album's kind of been going on repeat a little bit. But I can be.
If you had to pick one, Rihanna or Beyonce?
Rihanna's album at the moment, so I'd say Rihanna.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was lucky to watch her last week at Wembley, but Beyonce's not far off.
She's not at all, not at all. So now I'll set you a challenge of, I want to know, if you could only listen to 3 tracks for the rest of your life, what 3 tracks would you pick?
I actually had Whitney Houston, How Will I Know? I think
that's a tune.
You can bang that out.
Yeah, you can.
I had Too Much by Drake.
Okay.
And I had Confessions by Usher.
Nice. Okay. Well, nice. That's not a bad 3 tunes to pick from. So you've kept it quiet within a. You know what you like, and you've not deviated too far. There's no like extremes there. It's kind of all modern / 80s R&B.
Yeah, because songs like Show Me Love and like I love them, but I don't think I could listen to that every day. No.
That's
you got to think carefully about that.
You do, you really do. Who in the team is the most annoying?
Most annoying? I'd say Farrah Williams.
Why?
I think she knows I'd probably say her, to be fair. She's a talkaholic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't shut her up, really, so I think she knows that, and she doesn't care, but she's a chatterbox 24/7.
And who's the longest in the shower?
Not many of us, actually. We like to finish training and get in, get out. Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's many of us, actually. Who
is the least funniest in the team? Potentially thinks they're funny, but actually just like, oh, shut up.
Maybe Emma Mitchell, our left back. She hasn't got the best common sense, but so you kind of laugh at her, but I think people don't really know if they're laughing at her or with her, or it just depends on what she's done. Stupid things she's done.
I see. And just finally, who's the player in the league that you look forward to playing against the most because you think, she's rubbish?
I can't say that.
I can take her. Come on. I got the pace on her. Come on.
Hopefully all of them. I'd like to think I can battle with them all.
All right. And what's coming up for you in England? You got the European Championships that you're second in your group, I believe. Are you top or second in your group?
Second.
I think you're second, yeah. You just absolutely smashed. You put to bed Serbia 7-0 quite recently. How are England looking in terms of doing well at the European Championships?
I think we're confident. I think we've changed over the last 2 years. Obviously, we've not changed much of the team or staff since the World Cup, so we know what we can do as a team, but naturally you've got to look 2 years ahead. We've got Estonia in a few weeks' time, but I'm quietly confident that, we've already qualified for the Euros, so that's a good point. And then now I'm just excited. I think we drew 0-0 away to Germany a few weeks ago, and I think we know what we can do as a team now. We're nearly up there with the best, and it's just that final stage now that I think we have time to do before we get there.
So bear in mind you did so well at the World Cup. Going into the Euros, there's no USA in the Euros.
Yeah.
So are you guys in the back of your mind thinking we should be getting to the semis at least?
Yeah,
that should be the bare minimum.
100%. I think we should be in that final, but it's not as easy as saying that.
No.
We've got to work hard. We've got to put everything in it. We've got to mentally be there as well, and every single camp is going to be important because naturally some of the teams are now going to the Olympics that unfortunately we couldn't be a part of, but the more time you get together, the better you're going to be. So I think we have a good stepping stone after the World Cup to kind of know what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
And naturally, teams like USA not being in it is always an added bonus.
And are you quite integral to this team, or are you kind of on the periphery still of the England squad? Are you a bit of a mainstay in the squad currently? I know you've been injured for a while, but before your injury, was you a mainstay in that squad, or are you kind of on the cusp of being involved?
Yeah. Touch wood, I think Mark started me in nearly every game he's been involved in, so luckily as well before the World Cup he gave me vice captaincy, so nice. It's a big stepping stone for me, and still I've got a lot to learn, but I feel like I'm quite mended into the squad, and hopefully there's more good times to come.
Wicked, nice one. Finally, any shouts you want to give to any of your friends, family, teammates, anyone you want to slag off, anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to my mum. She'll be loving life at home, so listening every minute of this. And just the Arsenal girls. Let's hope we can win the league this year and win more trophies. Let's hope so, because the men ain't gonna win anything. So I'm banking on you guys to bring success to my lovely club. Give us your Twitter. What's your Twitter account? Let's follow Jordan at Jordan Nobbs 8. Perfect.
Jordan, thank you very much for coming into the studio. We really appreciate your time on Beats and Balls. Everyone's going to be following you. I'm going to be following you, checking you out and your progress. Good luck with your recovery from your injury.
PyroRadio.